Amora sat at her desk beneath the dim glow of a bedside lamp. Shadows stretched across her journals and scattered sheets of paper. The room was silent except for the steady scratch of her pen. Writing had become her refuge, the only place where she could speak freely without interruption or judgment. The first letter began with fury. Her words were sharp, pressing deep into the page. She wrote of betrayal, of shattered trust, of the disbelief that still lingered. The pen moved aggressively, carving frustration into paper as though the force alone could empty her chest of its weight. When she finished, she stared at the page, breathing unevenly. The anger felt real, but incomplete. It did not reach the deeper wound. She set it aside. The second letter unfolded differently. This time her handwriting softened. The words trembled. She admitted what she barely allowed herself to think, that she still remembered him. That certain corners of her room carried echoes of his laughter. That despite the hurt, a part of her missed what she believed they once had. Tears blurred the ink, leaving faint stains across the paper. Longing, she realized, was far more difficult to confront than anger. She pressed the page briefly to her chest, but it did not lighten her heart. The third letter came slowly. There were pauses between sentences, deep breaths between confessions. This time she wrote of release, of choosing to forgive, not out of his worthiness, but out of her own need for peace. The words felt unfamiliar, almost fragile. Forgiveness did not erase the ache, but it loosened its grip. When she finished, she did not move for a long while. The quiet in the room felt different, less suffocating. For a fleeting second, she imagined sealing the letters in envelopes and sending them. Imagined them arriving in his hands. Imagined him reading every line and understanding the depth of what he had lost. But she knew they would never leave her drawer. Carefully, she folded each letter and placed them into a small box tucked in the corner. They were not messages meant for him. They were pieces of herself, anger, longing, and release, preserved in ink. To the outside world, she would continue to move forward. But within that box lived her unspoken truth. As she slid the drawer shut, she exhaled softly. The letters had served their purpose. He might never read them, but for the first time, she felt that her own voice had been heard. One evening, Amora sat alone on her balcony. The night sky stretched wide above her. Stars flickered in quiet indifference while a cool breeze slipped through the curtains behind her. The air was calm, yet her thoughts were anything but. For weeks, she had wrestled with herself, emotion pulling her backward, reason urging her forward. The betrayal still hurt, but the memories lingered stubbornly. His laughter, the warmth of shared moments, the illusion of certainty she once felt in his arms. Her journal rested open on her lap, pages thick with confessions, anger, and unanswered questions. Tonight, however, she wrote only a single sentence. I choose myself over him. She stared at the words, almost startled by their clarity. For so long, she had shaped her world around Dave, his presence, his plans, his approval. She had adjusted her dreams to fit beside his, and in return, he had broken her trust without hesitation. The truth settled heavily, yet it brought an unfamiliar calm. She had been living for him. Now, she would live for herself. Rising slowly, she walked to the mirror. The woman staring back looked tired, eyes rimmed with sorrow, but she was still standing, still breathing, still capable of choosing differently. Amora touched the glass gently. You deserve better, she whispered. She thought of the friends who had remained steady, the unsent letters that had given her release, the long nights of silent tears. Each moment had led her here, to this quiet resolve. Then she turned her thoughts to tomorrow. Tomorrow would not revolve around him. It would be hers to rebuild, hers to protect. Healing would take time. She knew that. There would be days when the ache returned uninvited. But tonight marked a turning point. With deliberate care, she gathered the photographs, the folded notes, the small tokens he had once given her. She placed them into a box. Her hands paused briefly over the lid, a final tug of memory pulling at her heart. Then she closed it. This was not about denying what had been. It was about refusing to let it define what would be. As she set the box aside, a quiet lightness filled her chest. She exhaled deeply, releasing more than objects, releasing attachment, expectation, illusion. Looking once more at the sky, she spoke softly into the night. Goodbye, Dave. The words carried no desperation, no anger, only freedom. Amora believed she had prepared herself for every possibility, his silence, his indifference, the hollow truth that their love had not been what she imagined. Walking away had felt like her final act of strength. She told herself time would soften the ache. She was wrong. It happened on a quiet Saturday evening at the market. She had gone there seeking distraction, hoping the noise of bargaining voices and crowded stalls would drown out her thought. With vegetables resting in her basket, she turned a corner, and saw him. Dave stood a few steps away, walking beside another woman. The woman was poised, her laughter effortless. She held onto his arm with familiarity, as though she belonged there. Dave's face carried a softness that struck Amara without warning. He looked at the woman with attention, with warmth, an expression that felt painfully intimate. Amara froze. Her breath stalled in her chest. The sounds of the market faded into a distant hum. She could not look away. She watched as he leaned closer, whispering something that made the woman laugh lightly. The gesture, simple and unremarkable to anyone else, shattered something fragile inside her. It was not merely that he had moved on. It was how easily he had done so. All the tears she had shed in private, the unsent letters folded away in her drawer, the nights spent questioning her worth, suddenly they felt small against the undeniable reality before her. The tenderness she had longed for now belonged to someone else. She turned quickly, forcing her composure to hold. Her lips pressed together to steady their tremble. She would not cry there, not in public, not where he might see. Her steps quickened as she left the market, the basket trembling slightly in her grasp. Colors blurred, voices distorted. The world felt unsteady beneath her feet. That night, she lay awake, staring at the ceiling. The image replayed relentlessly, his smile directed at someone else, his ease, his lightness. It cut deeper than his words ever had. Yet beneath the sharpness of the pain, a quieter realization began to form. Perhaps this was the truth she needed to see. Perhaps witnessing him move forward without hesitation was the final thread that would allow her to release him fully. But clarity did not soften the ache. In that moment, all she felt was the raw, piercing sorrow of loving someone who had never truly been hers.